use taxpayer money could do this. Private aircraft companies could do this, that ferry people and goods, but they're using government to order it in front of their private operation in agreements. It's a fraud. And it has nothing to do with keeping you safe. Mike Rivero joins us with his once-a-month visit from Hawaii, streaming video, not just audio, at prisonplanet.tv. Mike, continuing with the fact that they want to break our spirits. They want to break our back. They want us to capitulate to this outrageous, letting us know our naked bodies are being recorded on screen. I'm going to put images of the body scans of what they really show. And you can even blow these photos up right down to the pores on women's mammary glands, right down to the smallest detail of their genitalia. They are in the U.S. putting children through these. They are recording it. They are saving it. I mean, this is outrageous, and I'll talk later about what comes next. And I also want your ideas, Mike, on how we boycott this, how we fight it. Then we'll get into the latest hype to attack Yemen, happening right before the underwear bomber. The latest hype for scanners coming out within minutes of the underwear bomber on Christmas Day. Clearly, all of this is concerted for the rollout of the next level, the tightening of the control grid noose around our necks. Mike Rivero.
You're absolutely correct, and this has got nothing to do with security because, as you know, the Amsterdam airport already had these full-body scanners. Now, we've gotten 2 stories from this crotch bomber. The first one, they said he went through the scanner, but he hid the explosive behind his testicles. And then everybody said, well, that proves the body scanners don't work. So then they changed the story and said, oh, well, he was allowed to get on board the plane without going through the scanner. So they're still trying to sell you that these scanners are going to help. But the bottom line is that all of the security is a waste of time and money if the people running it just let anybody on the plane. We know this guy was allowed on the plane without a passport. There was an intervention. We know that security at the Amsterdam airport is run by the same company that ran security at all the 9/11 airports. We know that the shoe bomber went through Amsterdam airport. He got past security. It's all a big joke and a big scam. Again, the goal is to make money selling these scanners. The goal is to condition the American people into thinking they have no right of privacy whatsoever. That the government can look at your naked body whenever they feel like it. The next step will be making us fly naked on the airplane and saying you can't use the restroom. They're talking about these shock bracelets. It's completely out of control.
Well, by the way, Mike, they're already saying in the last hour, keep your hands in your lap, put nothing on your lap, no electronics, period, on any flight. They are literally training us to be prisoners. And I'm showing photos on prisonplanet.tv right now for TV viewers. Radio listeners can go read the articles at prisonplanet.com and see them, where it shows the woman completely naked, men completely naked, their genitalia hanging. It shows it all. And then we show another photo of the TSA with a woman in the scanner as the man looks at another woman's naked body on the screen with a smile on his face.
Well, it's definitely, it's a complete, it's almost dehumanizing the American people.
It's not almost, it is.
We're being turned into objects. We're run through the scanners. We're sent off to war. We're sent off to the tax farms. We're being objectified in a way that, men's magazines never even dreamt of doing to people. Now, you want to know how we're going to stop this thing? I think it's going to destroy itself because we're already seeing that tourism in the United States has just absolutely plummeted. We're dying out here in Hawaii. California is on the verge of bankruptcy, and their loss of tourism is a big part of it. The way that we stop this is we stop using the airlines. We stop traveling. We travel only when we
agree with you, Mike, but at a higher level,
a lot of business.
But at a higher level, that's what Maurice Strong and the UN admit. They want to shut down air travel. They want an international tax on travel. But go back. I mean, you're right. I've seen the statistics since 9/11, and it's not happening in the rest of the world. People aren't coming to America because people that come from freer countries know this is a police state. I talk to Russians that come here, and they can't believe what a police state. They say, when I was a little kid in Russia, it was like this.
Yeah, very much. We have become the evil empire here. We had some very good friends who lived in Great Britain. They would come out here to Hawaii once a year. They stopped years ago, and they said, we can't relax in Hawaii when we're treated like POWs everywhere we go at the airport. And they're absolutely correct. It's completely out of control.
I've offered to fly the Watsons here. The Watsons, I've flown to England to meet them. They've flown here before. I've offered, it's been 4 years since they were here, to fly Steve Watson and Paul Watson to the U.S., and they don't even want to come. But they're living in a police state there as well.
It's just absolutely amazing. And the thing is, we're going to destroy our airline industry. We're going to destroy our tourism industry. What is this government thinking that they're so eager to just put profits in the pockets of their cronies that they're willing to completely destroy what little remains of the private economy in the United States?
Well, it's incredible. Mike Rivero, as the public goes online to the security company's own sites and actually sees the 360 naked image, and as the public learns that the feds are already proposing for people that might actually hide bombs in their stomachs or drugs, they're talking about high-powered MRIs. And we just printed, in fact, bring it into me, the CBS News stories where they admit that these MRIs are cancer-causing. These are high-powered. These fire waves into your body.
Well, even the full body scanners, it's now being discovered, they are able to damage DNA. Now, they're not powerful enough to break molecules completely apart, but that center of the DNA helix is intentionally weak because it has to unzip in order to replicate the DNA during cell division. And so it's a very, very delicate chemical bond, and they're discovering that these terahertz waves in these full body scanners are ripping these DNA strands apart in your body, so they're sort of flopping loose, and that means the enzymes that have to travel down the DNA to copy off protein manufacturing instructions, they're getting bad information.
And that's mainline universities in Europe, yes, China, the U.S. are finding this. Here's another article, CBS News. New focus on dangers of CT scans. They know it's hurting people.
And they're going to start just zapping everybody at every airport with these things. We're going to wait about 4 or 5 years, and there's going to be an explosive epidemic of skin cancers and all these other problems, and the government won't care because they've made their money. They've sold us another pig in a poke. You know, they weren't able to sell us a global carbon tax. They weren't able to sell us vaccines. They're going to sell us these security machines. They don't care what they sell us as long as they're getting their money, and they don't care what damage it does to us as long as they get their money.
And it sets the precedent they can get away with anything. Remember in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, radiation tests on foster children and other millimeter wave tests, they've done all this already to troops and foster children. They know what it does.
They absolutely do, and they've shown a complete disregard for the victims of these experiments in these systems. The goal is to make money and to establish their agenda, and the personal harm to individual citizens is just considered a cost of achieving the goal. We're objects. They don't care what happens to us. They don't care if we're getting sick. Look at all the food additives.
They love it. They love it. In fact, stop right there. You bring up food additives. I ordered a pizza a few weeks ago for the guys up here late night working on a film. Papa John's. I rip open the package of pepper, dump it on my pizza, and then read crushed peppers treated with radiation, which, again, 100% conclusive. At bare minimum, it kills the food value of it, and in every major study in lab animals, causes all sorts of illnesses. And now, literally, Crohn's disease didn't exist, autoimmune disease of the intestines, 50 years ago. Now, I've got 2 people in my office with Crohn's disease. I've got an employee who's out today because his mother is in great danger of dying from Crohn's.
Yeah, it's amazing. We know that there's a link between vaccines and autism. We know that there's all kinds of these problems between food additives. My wife went through that with joint pain and formaldehyde, and we're just finding out now that 20% of the 84,000 chemicals in common commercial usage in the United States are kept secret, because they're treated as proprietary secrets of the company. Nobody knows what is in these products. Nobody knows if they've ever been tested for safety and toxicity. There's a loophole in the law. That's
why it says natural and unnatural flavors or artificial flavors and that's now declassified 18,500 chemicals plus that are secret, and these big companies are eugenicists. They're doing it on purpose, Mike. That's why the public's so passive. Can you imagine 100 years ago they tried to put naked body scanners in? No one would put up with that.
Yeah, it is a mystery to me. I was expecting the American people to start really getting angry, even back during the exposure of ClimateGate, when it became unavoidable that government and media and academic institutions were all working together to sell us this hoax of human-caused global warming, to impose a global carbon tax and a global government. Now we're in the middle of one of the harshest winters in the last 60 years, and the global warming cultists are still out there saying, oh no, global warming causes cold weather. This is all evidence of our agenda is correct. They're standing there with their hairs on fire and telling us they don't smell any smoke, and they're caught red-handed, or blue-handed in this case.
Absolutely, Mike. Again, we have another story. up at prisonplanet.com from No World System. Full body scanners to fry travelers with radiation. That it has links to all the mainstream government and university documents of how deadly this is. I mean, this is, I just can't even believe. Imagine, Mike, if you and I had made a futuristic sci-fi movie 20 years ago where the government records naked Americans in 2010 and where they put any food additives to sterilize they want in the food, and where mainstream TV calls for putting lithium, antipsychotics in the water, and where the public just takes it. People would laugh at that and say, that movie's unbelievable. Nobody would ever put up with that.
Yeah, it's just like Brave New World. It would be considered science fiction. But here we are.
Mike, we're going to come right back to you after the break, continue with what really happened with the underwear bomber and a lot more, and your ideas of boycotting the airlines and the government. It's the airlines going along with this. They're the target we've got to go after politically.